Sorry.
Let's get dangerous.
Yep, it is that time to get dangerous. And guess what?
Sorry,
Yeah,
couldn't help
he's
it.
just playing with you. He's playing with you.
Hi, Cliff.
Hello.
You're like, I don't know what's going on. He's staring at something. Something's not right on his side, it looks like.
I had a screen pop up that said, "Oops, that address looked incorrect for the stream today."
Mm-hmm.
When I was already on the show, I was like, okay.
Google, it's the heat. It's the heat. Yes, because it is. It's hotter than a witch's booby and a brass bra, as
Yes.
they used to say during the winter. It's
Mm.
just it's summer. It is hot. I'm like, oh my goodness! I did a little boogie woogie, and then I made myself all sweaty.
Yes.
But I'm
It,
happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with my peeps. And oh my goodness, forgot almost turned my dang thing off. Anyway, but I am happy to see my guys. I missed you guys, and I feel so bad because I let you down.
No, you didn't
you
let
didn't let us
down.
down, but if you missed us, you need to get out more.
Yeah.
Jeez, y'all are so cool. Well, has it been an interesting week?
Define interesting. Outside the laugh track in the background.
I'm just happy that he's laughing. People he's connected to have had people snatched.
Ooh.
And so they can't find them.
Mm.
So the fact that they are lifting their spirits up it's been a bit between that and my landlord is trying to sell our building, and we have buyers who are must be serious because they showed up with a contractor in tow on Monday to go through the building. And because I'm the one that the landlord has decided, well, Elaine knows the building and she knows the area. So Elaine will do all the work of dealing with, prospective buyers as they tour through the building.
Lower the rent. Lower my rent. I'm doing you a solid. Lower my rent or give me a cut.
Yep.
So there is that, and then finding out that my grant money still hadn't come through.
I'm still shaking an angry fist about that one.
Yeah. Huge thanks to my Uncle Richard and his wife Allison. You did your girl a solid. Thank you. I can actually pay my phone bill. And I paid my LLC registration today. For those of you who don't know, most states, if you own a company like an LLC or corporation, you have to register every year.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and in the state of Illinois, you have to pay to register. They are serious in Illinois. When they say pay to play, you go pay to play. And I had to pay before the beginning of August, or they were going to zap me along with the $75 registration fee, another $100 as a late fee. And I didn't even know, because I forgot my youngest son reads National Geographic Kids magazine, which he loves. Yes, he's 34. He's reading the kids magazine. He's autistic. It makes him happy, and for me, that's the thing. But they hit me for $40 this month. And then my bank took another $37 out of my account. And it was like, oh, great. I can either pay for my website, business branded email, and security certificate for the month, or I can pay my phone bill. But I can't do both. And so, they had approved the grant months ago, but bureaucracy being what bureaucracy is, it's taken this long before everybody signed off on it. And even after all the people on my business counselor side signed off on it, the people who handle accounts payable have not signed off on it. And because the time at which I had to borrow the money because my laptop was dying, and so I had to get my oldest to help me rebuild my old desktop, which means we had to go buy new stuff. I had to borrow a lot of money, because also my drafting table fell apart. So I had to get a new drafting table. I had to get a new desk. I had to get new storage pieces, plus equipment, because
Getting background music.
Oh. Are you getting background music?
Yes, I hear the background music.
Courtney, is that you?
I swear I don't have it up that loud.
My mic is extra sensitive. After not working for 2 weeks, it's now extra sensitive.
Don't complain.
And my volume's at 19, so that's kind of impressive.
I was thinking the same thing. But it's just been, so the money has been spent, and I've killed my credit card to do it. So at this point, it's like, hey, can you give me, if you've approved the money, can you give it to me so I can at least make sure all my bills get paid, and I can pay down my credit card so they don't keep snatching big chunks of money? Because every time I put money on the credit card, the next thing you know, it's like, oh, we took $40 off for interest. Because, you're at your limit. It's like, oh, thank you. That just feels good. Hit me harder, Daddy. I ain't, it don't hurt me bad enough. It's just been one of those. It's, and Amazon still won't allow my book. Okay, I need to ask people this. Amazon says, now this is a 7.5 by 11 foot, 11 inches, 7.5 inches by 11 inches. This is the copy that Kablam printed. This is the proof that I ordered from Amazon. They're not the same size. The Amazon is 7 inches by 10, not 7.5 by 11.
Wait, the average comic book size is what? 7 by 10.5.
Yeah, and this is 7, and this is about 10.5.
So
this is the bigger one. This was what Kablam wanted. Now, this is the proof from Amazon showing that everything I did meets with their stuff, and it all fits.
Okay.
For some reason, their algorithm keeps saying, it's not the right size. The bleed's not right. And I keep saying, hello, I ordered the proofs. The proofs came out fine. And I went round and round for 45 minutes with what had to be a chat bot because he kept saying, it doesn't fit 7.5 right. And it's like, it's not a 7.5 inch by 11-inch comic. It's 7 by 10.5. And for 7 by 10.5, it prints just fine. I'm not going to make a bigger PDF when it's not going to print that size. And I even said, if I walk this, I won't say the word, into a court of law and said, hey, judge, it printed in the correct size. Everything other than the fact that Amazon stuck white pages at the back. I don't even know why they stuck those extra white pages at the back. My pages are supposed to be all black and beautiful.
Again, they printed it like a book instead of like a comic book.
Yes. But even so, it's smaller than the copy that Kablam sent me. And the size I sent Kablam is the same size I sent Amazon. And yet they're claiming they can't print it at that size. And I'm like, fine, you printed it at 7 by 10.5. Just give me my stuff. The proofs, and I kept saying the proofs came out fine. Great. Just approve it for publication so I can start selling books. Well, no, it's because we have to add, and it's like, it doesn't, it fits. So at some point tomorrow, I'm going to have to call Amazon and get whoever's on the line in India, because they don't hire Americans to do this anymore, and try to explain to someone in India that, hey, the proof printed fine. Don't have to make any changes. Just let it go through. You know, or pull my book all together and don't keep my data. Because if you're not going to let me publish, you don't have a right to hold my data. You know,
that's going to be the hard part.
Yeah, but
because they're going to be trying to pull you tooth and nail. It's like, but Kindle could do this, Kindle could do that. We got more. It's
the
like,
Kindle edition is just fine, and I'm actually was going to pull the Kindle edition because I did an updated print version, and I want them to, you know, match.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, get the print version done, and then the Kindle version will be, you know, in no way a headache. But they won't let me publish the print every time I go to publish it. No, you have to wait. Then they send me an email. Hi, these. And it's like, we've already settled these issues. I'm tired of going round and round, and I did the chatbot thing. I'm sick to death of chatbots. I won't repeat some of the things I called it. But I'm sure I hurt its mama's feelings. If it had a mama. I'm an evil person. I am an evil
No, but
person.
that's their fault for calling you Tevin Campbell. Oh, it went over your head. That's the singer that did the song Round and Round.
Yes. Is that it? Which Round and Round? Is that You Spin Me Round and Round?
No,
okay.
that's 1980s. I forgot the name of that band that did that.
Yeah.
I talked about Tevin Campbell that was discovered by Prince and Quincy Jones that did the Round and Round song.
Okay. I was thinking of the You Spin Me
Round
and
round, baby, right round like a
record player.
Round.
Sorry, Cliff
Was that
like
that wasn't The Cure, was it?
No. This guy, the front man for that, was trying to be more George Michael.
I know the song, but I
think he also had an eye patch.
It was Nick Fury.
He was not George Michael. Boy George. That's it. Boy George. Yeah, he was more Boy George, but he had this. I think he had a weird eye patch.
Dead or Alive. That's the name.
Dead
of
or
it.
yeah.
Dead or Alive. Yeah.
Their front man was kind of.
You spin me round. That's the name of the song, by the way. You spin me right round, baby, right round like a record
player. Because we still had record players back then.
No.
Sorry, Cliff, you're sitting here going, geez, are they ever going to start speaking English?
No, it's like, are you going to get to a decade that I know about?
Hey,
Maybe
I
we need
know
to go.
about record.
Maybe
I
we need
had
to
a
go
record.
back, further than the 1980s, get to like 70s and 60s.
I had a record player. Thank you very much. It played
Okay.
my Snoopy versus the Red Baron album all the time.
I love that song.
See, you guys, Snoopy and the Red Bear. I had the classic. I had Peter and the Wolf from Disney Records.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
my
used to show
oldest,
that for assembly days at school when they came.
my oldest had a Bluetooth record player, and we were at a convention not long after she got it, and I found a couple of the old Power records
Oh, okay.
that still had the comic and everything with them. And I bought them for her.
Ooh.
Doubt she listened to them, but I was happy I found them. So
Yeah, you could always annex them and it becomes yours again.
Yeah, they'll just become, she can keep the comics so she doesn't totally lose out, but you get the music.
Yep.
And then she can walk in on Daddy out there like, yeah, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I found a great movie on Netflix, and it's called K-pop Demon Hunters. And it
I saw the preview
sounds,
for that.
huh?
I saw the preview for that.
Oh, I loved it. And I do like BTS. I will admit I am a BTS idiot. I'm not an actual member of the army, but I do like my BTS boys. Rap Monster's got a cute butt. I will say it. I likes the cute butt. But this, Sony helped produce this. And it is visually stunning. Every frame looks like it was hand painted. It's like they watched what's the series with Jinx and them. Come on, Joe, help me an old lady out.
What do you mean with Jinx and them? You talking about Teen Titans Go or something like that?
No, Jinx. She's the it's based on a video game. Arcane. Thank you, Spare Brain. I have a spare brain. She won't come on camera though because she hates me. If you love me, you come on camera.
Technically not decent. I'm in my PJs.
Anyway. I'm wearing sleep shorts. Okay. I just threw on a bra, a tank top, and a semi-sheer t-shirt. So I can sit on camera because it is hot and humid up in this mofo, and I wasn't putting on a lot of clothes. But yeah, Arcane is beautifully rendered. This movie, they must have been watching Arcane because it is beautifully rendered. The color and they know how to play with emotions because they have the color cues for when people are happy and bright, and then when things get a little not so happy, and then when things get dark, and then as you come back. But I loved it because along with the music, which is a lot of fun, and they had a lot of great comedy in it. Daniel Day Kim, ladies, Mr. Hottie, Daniel Day Kim does a voice in it, and he does a crazy person. And I cracked up, and then I found out it was Daniel Day Kim, and I was trying to picture Hottie Daniel Day Kim as this crazy character, and almost threw up. But it surprises you because it does have it talks about who we are, who we think we are, who we think the world perceives us to be, and the personal demons that drive us. And it's a great series. It centers around this girl group called Huntress. And at the beginning of this, they are the top female. They are the K-pop idols, and it turns out they're more than just singers, though. They are demon hunters. And there is this thing called the Hanzu, which is like through generations of these women singers, they have created this barrier that keeps the demons out of the human world. But each generation has to sing to strengthen this barrier. And these girls are supposed to be the ones who will turn the barrier completely golden so the demons can't bother the current generation of humanity. Oh, he's not feeling well. You okay? Sorry. But which you would think, well, that's simple enough, except the lead singer, who has an amazing voice, turns out is part demon. And she's been hiding that little secret from her bandmates because the woman who raised her, who was in the generation of girl huntresses before her and has built this band around her, has told her she has to hide it. And the demon lord, however, he doesn't want, this barrier, because then he can't feed on human souls and misery. And this one demon comes up and has the idea of, there'll be a K-pop demon boy band. And they'll steal everybody's souls. And they have these songs that these groups sing that tie in so perfectly to the story. So it's not like, stop all the action, we have to do a song. It's the music flows in, becomes part of the story. It's kind of like, it's a K-pop version of the old musicals that, MGM and those guys would put out. It's beautifully done. And I don't want to give it away, but beware of hat-wearing crows. Especially since the hat wasn't made for the crow, it was made for a tiger, but the crow decided the hat looked better on him and he stole it. And that's the only other spoiler I can give you. I don't want to spoil it. Your girls would love this. All your girls can watch this.
Okay.
So, and I would say watch it with them. And it's on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to get into Netflix, let me know.
Right now, it's actually Korean?
Okay, it is Sony in conjunction with two other companies, one of which is Korean. Mm-hmm. And the girls that sing the song for the female characters is a K-pop group called Twice. And these girls, great voices. They can lay it down. And I suspect the boy band, the performances for the boy band you can tell they based the boy band in part on BTS. And I think some of the musical performances of the boy band is done by BTS, because surprisingly, just after this came out, it was announced that the guys at BTS have now all finished their, because in Korea, South Korea, they are required to spend, men have to do so much military service. I think it's 2 or 3 years. They disbanded so that they could go in and do their required service. It was held off for a while, and then the government said, look, yeah, you're making a lot of money, but you're also ticking off that dude. So, come home, serve your country, and then when you're done. And so it was interesting. Right after I saw this, the announcements were coming out, the BTS were back.
Okay.
So it's like, okay. That means I get to see my rap monster and his cute butt soon. Or at least Sugar. Sugar's adorable. They have a character in animated called Baby who makes me think of Sugar. but they're fun. They're fun, and like I said, it's a really good piece of storytelling, and I wasn't expecting. It was like, it was just I was kind of bored over the weekend, and it's like, fine, I'm in a bad mood. I'm gonna watch this little K-pop nonsense, and then I'll have something to bitch about on the show. And then I watched it, and it was almost like, the Life cereal commercial. He likes
it. She likes it.
So yes, K-pop, Demon Hunters, people, I highly recommend it. I will give it, hold on, 10 dead birds. I don't have any live birds, so.
That's
dead
strong
birds out of
recommendation.
10.
Yes. Netflix has a lot of really good Korean shows on it. That's why I was asking.
Yes, they do. And of course, Netflix is, they brought Squid Game. I'm not a Squid Game person, though. Joe.
I am, but I'm still not happy with the last season.
Red light, green light.
I've only watched the first season of the Squid Games, and my oldest daughter has banned season 2 and 3 from the house.
Why?
Okay.
Because at the end of the first season, when the main character, instead of walking off with all of his money, turns around and goes back, she said, "Oh, you stupid MFer," and said, "We're not watching this again." I said, "Okay."
So she missed out on the reason why he went back.
She didn't care. She did not. She's like, he went through all of that and got out. F him. I was like, back. Okay. My wife and I like the zombie show, All of Us Are Dead, on Netflix.
I haven't seen that one. I finally got off my butt and watched the Resident Evil show and realized that was a waste of my time.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of those, okay, I have it. It was on my Netflix. If you've watched something but you haven't watched it all the way through, Netflix go, "Hello, you still haven't finished this." And it's like, okay, let me finish this. And it was like, yeah, that's hours of my life I am not getting back, And then I saw K-pop Demon Hunters and I felt better.
My oldest took me to go see 28 Years Later last week.
Oh, I have not seen that. I've seen the first two.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a Robert Carlyle fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very disappointed that they zombieized him.
Mm-hmm.
Because that kind of broke my heart.
It was good. It was obvious that some of the people in the theater did not know that it was part 1 of a trilogy.
Oh, part 3 of a trilogy?
No, it's part 1, because there's 2 more movies coming in the 28 Years Later.
Oh, okay. So there's. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is Cillian Murphy in this one? Because they kind of.
He's gonna be in the next one.
Okay, because I remember seeing the preview, and there's this shot of something that looks like a zombieized version of Cillian Murphy, and it's like, they made Pretty Boy into a zombie.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. A lot of people thought it was him, but it's not. They filmed the second one's going to be called The Bone Temple, and they filmed it back to back with 28 Years Later.
Okay.
And it's going to be out this Christmas or next Christmas. I don't remember which.
Oh, see, I thought it was done. And somebody and I had seen a few posters like, this is what that thingy at the end where it's all the piled up bones, the Bone Temple. Is supposed to be about, but I didn't watch it because it's like, well, I want to watch the movie and I don't want to know what it's about until I watch the movie.
Yeah, it was not what I expected.
Okay.
Well, it was really good. The only problem I had with it is I went in hoping in the first of these new 3 movies they would explain to us how the people infected with the virus, how it lasted for that long, because if you've seen spoilers for a movie that's almost 30 years old, at the end of 28 Days Later, they're like, we don't have to fight these things, they're going to all starve to death or die of illness because they don't they don't do anything.
Yeah, and they can't digest that. They can't digest what they eat anyway. They just throw it back up.
Right. So I was hoping they give an explanation of how they survived for that long, but they didn't. I'm hoping they give it in the second movie, or
because I know
I might not be too happy.
28 weeks is the follow-up, in which Carlisle and his wife in a small group get attacked before things get wiped out. He gets separated from her. He gets out. She does not. And it turns out her body is reactive to the virus, where if she gets bitten, she doesn't turn.
No, she's a carrier.
But she acts as a carrier for the virus.
Yeah.
And so when he goes in the room when he ain't supposed to be, I'm spoiling it. Come at me. And gets his smooch on,
Yeah,
bad things happen.
They ignore 28 weeks later, because at the end of 28 weeks later, they said that it's happening in Paris.
When they in 28 weeks later, it was the first one, but it also had hit America because they were, and I figured it had hit Paris because there's so much ocean between us and the British Isles, and on their Dr. 9 is listening to the radio or whatever, and they're talking about America's been hit and all of that. So it's like, well, hell, if it got there, it had to have gotten to the rest of Europe. I mean, the only thing between France and England is the Channel.
Right, but
there's a train tracks under that now, so it could have made it easily.
They straight out at the beginning of this one tell you the British Isle is a quarantine zone. It's never it hasn't left the island. So
then, they kind of retcon this third act of the first movie as well, because they are listening. They're talking. They're explaining to Cillian Murphy what happened, the commander, and he's talking about how America's gone down, how all these capitals around the world have been hit, and I think they've lost connection with command. It's just them now as far as they're concerned. But the last thing they'd heard and everything, so. It's like they just kind of retcon the last half of Act 2 and all of Act 3.
Yeah. I don't know if they may touch back on it in the other movies, but that they just completely ignored that part of it. But other than that, it was a really good movie. And when I got home, apparently because the algorithm gods follow us, my YouTube brought up all of these, what really happened in the end of 28 years later, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, of course. And I just, for the fun of it, I turned one on, and it didn't make any sense, but I did find out that they may end up winning an award for some of the camera shots in the movie, because like all the times that one of them, somebody got killed with a bow and arrow, the way they filmed the arrow shot was looked like a video game. And the way they did it was apparently they built this contraption, and they linked 20 iPhones on it and recorded it on all the 20 iPhones at once.
Oh no, that's so cool.
Yeah, so
they have an app for that.
Yes, it was. I saw that and I was like, well, that's kind of neat. But then I felt bad for the guy who has to carry the contraption with all the iPad phones on it. So.
Joe has disappeared.
No, I'm right here.
Oh, okay. Sure. I thought we lost you.
I'm right here. It's like a screen,
Have you seen anything, Joe?
Not really this week, but one thing I gotta say, because of the so-called ban in a certain person's house, I really have to say this. If you could get past that one thing, because it sounds like that said person has no empathy, because that was the reason why he went back.
Yep.
He
No,
would
she
actually,
doesn't.
she has no empathy. So that tells me it's like, oh, it's like the whole point was him going back was more along the lines. It's like, no, nobody else have to go through what I go through.
Mm-hmm.
He learned
Yeah, no.
he learned the opposite lesson of what he was supposed to learn, and that was the whole thing here. So
Yeah, no, there's no empathy with that.
therefore, season three would have been wasted on people like her.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Yeah, it's
She's in
just
the living room. I'm hoping she's not hearing us talk about her.
She's a sweetheart.
no, because again, that was the whole purpose of season 2 and season 3. Because the thing about it is that she missed the fact that Frontman was a fellow winner of Squid Game himself. He learned a different lesson. He learned a different lesson than 256.
Yeah, she has no empathy when she sat and watched the original Halloween movie. She looked me dead in the face and said, "Everybody in this town is an idiot, and they all deserve to die." I was like, "Yep."
Yeah.
So yeah, she doesn't.
You know, I kind of
Not just that. I look at the end of Halloween. It's like, you're supposed to be a detective. How can you make a bonehead mistake like that?
it's it was a time.
Again,
It was a time.
you shot Michael Myers out the window, and you do not confirm the kill.
Mm-hmm.
If you confirm the kill, he can't come back in the sequel.
That's right.
But that's the whole thing. It's like, oh, we just going to say that he's dead. That's like, no, you did not confirm the kill. That goes right back. That goes right back to what happened in Saw 3. The reason why, to me, the Saw movies end in Saw 3.
That's the one where he dies, right?
No, that's the one where they was doing the autopsy.
Oh, okay.
And he played one final game. And the one final game was to truly find who was going to be his replacement.
That was 4.
No, that was 3.
No, 3 was the one where the dad had the daughter that was kidnapped, and his wife got kidnapped and was operated on Jigsaw's brain. And Amanda died, and Jigsaw died, and the mom died, and the husband died, and the little girl got saved by the detective.
No, that was
2 was the one where they were in the house.
No, 2 was the one when they was in the warehouse.
Okay. 2 was the one where they were in the house, and
all I know is one had Carrie
Elwes warehouse where the doctor had that collar on her neck.
That was
and she was forced to operate on Jigsaw to keep him alive.
No, I'm serious. That was 3. 4 was the one where you found out Hoffman was the apprentice, and 5 was when he hid from the FBI, and 6 was where the ex-wife got back involved, and then 7 we don't talk about.
Okay. There's a lot more to that movie than I ever
for some
cared
reason,
about.
you're missing 2, because 2, the whole gambit with 2 was the so-called son was in a safe place, and everything went the heck in a handbasket because his so-called apprentice that survived her game did not understand, and it was creating all these other games that were unwinnable. So he retested her, even though he was dying. He retested her using that surgeon.
Yeah, that was 3.
That was 2.
2 was the one. 2 was where Amanda was in the house and fell in the thing with all the needles in it.
I've only ever seen 1.
That was part of 2. That was the beginning. No, that was the beginning part of 2. That was the beginning part of 2. But the ending part of 2 was dealing with the whole thing with the surgeon, the detective, and his son, because he was trying to find where his son was at, because Jigsaw gave him. That was the beginning of Jigsaw testing him to be the apprentice.
Okay.
And while all this was happening here, you have to be mindful that the original Jigsaw was still dying, and that old girl who was supposed to be her apprentice was still running Jigsaw games. That's the reason why he was confusing the 2.
Mm.
All that you mentioned was still happening too. It wasn't until 3 when Jigsaw actually died and the detective came back and they found they started doing the autopsy. They was looking at his brain and they found the recorder in his body. And the
He
reason I
actually
remember,
had it.
I remember that so clearly because it also dealt with the SWAT team leader that was always making the quick judgment and was not clearing the doors and before they breach anything. He
And
was
he
being
ran in the
set
door and killed Donnie Wahlberg at the end of 4.
in the 3. I have all of them here. I watched them. That was the end of 3.
I'm gonna just let y'all fight this out. I'm gonna just let
Yeah,
y'all
that was
fight
the end
this
of 3. But pretty much at the end of 3, that's when I started checking out because it wasn't the same. It became like a gore fest. It had no dealing with the fact that you're not testing people correctly as far as what they, and again, what Jigsaw was doing is like, to get over whatever your true problem is, you must face it head on, whether it be for life or for death.
Well, did you watch Saw X?
10, no.
Yeah, it's actually really good.
I think I stopped at final chapter.
Final chapter wasn't good.
No,
Now the
by
2
no means it was
spin-offs
no
that came
good.
out,
It was no good. It was no
Jigsaw and
good.
Spiral. Jigsaw was okay, and the only reason my daughter and my oldest and I liked Spiral with Chris Rock in it was Samuel L. Jackson was funny as hell, knocking people into walls. Outside of that, it was no good. And my oldest has been listening to us talk about Saw and is eyeballing me from the living room now.
Hey, sweetie.
And she's probably looking at you as like, Dad, you're not right.
She just held up her hand and said it was 3 where he died.
Yes, I said that.
He said 2.
He died. Okay.
You're outnumbered.
They
You're
did
outnumbered, and
the
I didn't
autopsy
watch.
on him in 3. They did the autopsy in 3.
Did
He
they do
was
the autopsy
already
in 3?
dead.
I quit.
Did they do the autopsy in
after
3 because he was already dead, or did he die at the end of 3? She says he died at the end of 3. He said you're wrong.
They started off with the autopsy in 3. They never truly said how he died. There's a big gap between 2 and 3. Yeah, I'm going to rewatch 2 and 3 because there's a gap between 2 and 3.
Okay, I will rewatch them.
Yeah,
but
there's a gap between
Elaine,
2 and 3.
You had a review you were going to do last week before everything broke. Do you still have it?
Yes, but if we have at least 17 minutes before review time.
Oh yeah, I don't want to talk about Saw no more. I'm in trouble.
What else did I watch? Oh,
Right here is the first 7.
Oh, dang.
So that's why I say it's like I'm quite certain.
1 was still the best one. That's the only thing I know.
Right.
Well, I have not watched it yet, but to take us out of this, I have not watched it yet. I'm thinking I will probably watch it this weekend. But I've got my little, excuse me, my little spare brain says this season of The Sandman is actually turning out pretty decent.
Is it already out?
I think it's not the whole season. They've only, how many, have they released the whole season or just a few episodes?
I think the season's only got the 6 episodes.
Okay, so yeah, she said she thinks it's only 6 episodes. But Gwendolyn Christie's back as Lucifer.
Yeah, that's the reason why I don't remember 3 all that much, because that was the chessboard one. This was the chessboard.
Mm-hmm.
Try.
This was investigating what happened afterwards when they did the full autopsy. So it's between 3 and 4 where he actually died.
Okay.
Okay.
So like I said, I remember it clearly because I was like, this was the stupid chessboard.
Mm.
Okay.
This was the stupid collar
Mm.
with the surgeon and being in a safe place. I hated the chessboard.
Okay. I only watched the first one, and the minute I realized Carrie Elways was a goner, it was like, y'all killed Carrie Elways.
Yeah,
He
Y'all
wasn't gone.
killed. uh, He got out, but then it turned out what's his name was in there as the body the entire time and went after him. And my
Well,
heart just went,
he
he's
came-
going after Carrie Airways, and that's not fair because he's got the cute butt. And
He
so I
came
quit
back in
watching
the
it.
7th movie. He was in the 7th Saw. You found out he was another one of Jigsaw's secret apprentices.
mm-hmm.
Oh, see, I couldn't have watched that. I couldn't, because then I would have to
This
go
was
to
garbage.
LA. I would have to go to
Final chapter was
LA.
garbage.
His brother is a top agent, and I would have to go to LA and walk into his brother's office and smack the crap out of him.
Just like the game in 2 was garbage to me. About how dude was blaming this other black guy for the death of his family or daughter through a car crash. And the nature of his game is like he was going through each piece of the evidence to prove that the guy was innocent. And the only way for him to win was to let the guy go.
Yeah, and he killed him.
But the thing about it is, for him to get the key, he would have to take a shotgun blast to the face.
Ooh.
So, like I say, I remember Saws. Trust me, I remember Saws, because as much as I don't like horror, this is not horror to me. This is
Psychological thriller.
detective thriller type stuff. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because everything up to 4 kind of had that the detective, like, you trying to figure out what's really going on. 5 was just, that's when you just got gore fest, and then 7 was just like, yeah, this is a we say so. But I didn't see X yet. I did not see X. I need to buy X.
X
So
is
you'll
pretty
have
good.
the entire collection.
X is pretty good. I don't know why they haven't brought 11 out yet, because they're supposed to. But
Again, to me, the whole part of what Jigsaw stood for is gone. They made they made the Saw series a gore fest. What he stood for is gone. Because again, this was his way of curing people of what ailed them.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you got to own up to your accountability. Even with the very first game that they kind of mentioned in 2 with the heroin addict. For you to survive this, you're going to have to go through those grades and mess up your face and everything. And after you go through it, you'll be straight from this point forward. And you have to do it without fear, and you have to, admit that he was wrong. It's like, but the simple fact that the way that he got the guy that ended up killing his son in that car accident was just, that was all messed up.
That was one where he all of his bones broke when he spun backwards, right? Yeah.
Ew. On a lighter note, I got the cover art for book 2 done.
Yay.
Yep. Joe, can I don't know if you can show it. Can you show that? It's not
Again,
right.
If he gave me a little bit more of a heads up, I would have had it prepared. But yes, I could pull it up. Hold on.
I'll just sit here and play with Mr. Thinking. Hello, Mr. Thinking. How are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. Sorry.
Oh, have your fun. No, go ahead and have your fun. just like kind of sort of how I have my fun with completing stories and everything here, because I'm been completing story chapters after story chapters of the anthology comic left and right.
Clyde, yeah, there it is. So that's the cover art for book 2. Haven't quite worked out what the subtitle is going to be. I was just happy to get the art done because I had to do it. tried to do it digitally. I couldn't get it to work. I finally did, after 2 failures, finally did a traditional version that I then pulled up in the Clip Studio Paint because I'd already mocked out the book. So it was like, oh, wait, I got the front cover, just put the artwork on there, size it up, do a little diddly do, and then fill in them titles. And only to find out that my heart has broken because I don't have this font no more. I ain't got that font no more.
Then get it.
I can't because it was free on Blambot like years and years and years ago, and it is no longer free. So it's like, oh, okay. And I did that art 2 computers ago. And so not everything from the first laptop, I've realized, I migrated successfully over to the squishy laptop.
The squishy.
Yes.
You call it squishy.
Squishy the Thoy. That was his name. Squishy the Thoy.
See, I'm more partial to
This
Frankenstein.
is Squishy Boo. Okay? This phone is Squishy Boo. The old laptop was Squishy the Thoy. The desktop is Frankenstein.
That's the one that I'm partial to. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Frankenstein been through everything.
Well, so had Squishy the Thoy. You know? Squishy the Thoy went through some stuff, and then through no fault of its own, it died. So, you know, but I didn't realize, and unfortunately, I can't find that file. Or I went through some old Blambot links I had, and they're no longer, the fonts are either no longer there, or because I got them originally for free, I can't get them again unless I pay for them. And I stupidly forgot to list what font I used, which feels even worse. So I had to start with a whole new font, and I drove my oldest crazy. What
did you do? What did you do the original that original image in?
Okay, this original image was done with 2 fingers and a trackpad.
In what program?
I originally did this on Painter Essentials. I didn't have Clip Studio Paint at that time. I didn't
Painter
even have Manga Studio.
was Corel.
This was
right?
this was like Painter Essentials 4 or 5.
Okay, that's Corel.
And that's about the time I started getting, some friends of mine had introduced me to Motion Artists, which was their beta for the 3D ZBrush. But because they had they gave me a friend gave me a beta for ZBrush, and then because I had that, I got a beta for Motion Artists, which was early Manga Studio software for motion comics. It was connected with Celsius and all of that, but because I had gotten Motion Artists, Manga Studio, the people who were running Manga Studio at that time said, hey, you like that? We'll give you a great big discount on Manga Studio. We'll let you buy Manga Studio. They were just putting out 5, and they let me get 4 for $50. And because I had 4 for a couple of years, then they let me get 5, but I had to buy it twice because the second time, when I got 5, I got the Pro instead of the EX. And anybody who knows anything about Manga Studio / Clip Studio Paint is they have 2 versions. They have a Pro and an EX. Pro lets you do individual pages, illustrations. EX lets you do an entire book within the software itself. You can actually create your books. So the first time I made the mistake, we got Pro, and then I had to go back and get EX. But they were nice about it and gave me a lovely big, yes, see, I had that. I think you were the one that got me the Motion Artist Beta. And because of the Motion Artist, because I have the Motion Artist Beta, which no longer works, by the way. I tried to get it to work a few days ago. It doesn't work anymore. But because of that, the company that was doing that was also, it was something that Manga Studio was putting out, that the guys behind Manga Studio were doing. And because
This
of
was
that, I
before
started.
selfies. This is actually before selfies.
Yeah, this was, it was when it was Manga Studio. And, but because I got Motion Artists and I was registered with them for Motion Artists, they gave me a huge discount on Manga Studio 4.
Exactly.
And then a lovely big discount a couple of years later on Manga Studio 5, and so on.
Technically, I should install this, but I haven't used this in years.
Motion Artist no longer functions. If you click on it, it'll, I think it takes you into Clip Studio or something like that, but it no longer, it does not function. No, it takes you, what's the other one? Because I had ZBrush, whatever.
This is Smith Micro. This is Smith Micro, so yeah. I don't know. If you have the beta, you have the beta. This is the actual final production version.
See, I got the beta. You gave me, I think you and DC, because that's when you, DC, and I were first getting to know each other. And I think either you or DC gave me, hooked me up with the beta for Motion Artist. And that then started me on my Smith Micro journey.
Because I've been with Smith Micro ever since Poser.
Well, before that, because I look, you know, Smith Micro can be expensive, even back then. And when you're living on a very tight budget and you're trying to raise kids, you know, I had to go what was the cheapest. And for some stupid reason, Painter Essentials, well, Corel let me get like 30 days of full-on Painter for free. And it was like, yeah, any artwork you create during this free trial, we're not going to throw anything up on it. It's yours. You can do whatever with it. And so, yeah, that's how that cover came up. That and Blambot. You know, I also had a full library of sound effects that iTunes decided needed to be inside of my iTunes library. I didn't put it in the iTunes library. One day, iTunes just snatched it all up and stuck it in there. And then when iTunes quit working, guess what happened to my sound effects library? It took me 6 months of going to sites and getting this stuff for free. I had werewolf growls. I had little music bits I could put together and stuff. All gone. Damn you, iTunes. Damn you, Apple. You know, so hold on. I'm checking the time. Okay, it is 7:58. That's close enough. I will start us off with my book. I have a book. She's got a book today. She's got a book. I actually got Mad Spooks the 80s because, you know, I'm mad that way. And this is a special collector's edition. You can get these. I got mine at Jewel. You can also get them.
You reminded me I had these too.
Don't make me come over your house and start stealing.
They are the old school Anarch Press How to Draw Mangas, volume 1 through 3, and they cover several different of their actual printed books.
Okay. I never managed to get those. I didn't have that type of money, you know.
Again, you'd be surprised at what you could go to San Diego and get directly from the manufacturers.
I had kids. I could not just get my butt up and go to San Diego. Anyway.
No, you couldn't afford the air. You couldn't afford the airfare there, but yeah, you could have gone because you could have gone for free. You could have got your credential badges. You are a screenplay writer. You could have got your credentials and gone in for there for free.
Well, I would have had to have somebody at the AFI. And by that time, I think most of my connections at the AFI were either dead or gone elsewhere. I would have had to have someone at the AFI or William Morris get up and go, oh yeah, she got that, yeah, she went here and she got that and she did this. I gotta go back and I gotta pay some money so that they can send me the thing that says, hey, yeah, she successfully finished her first year here at the AFI and wrote a script and the script was good. And we let her graduate.
Yep, you need to get that soon. You need to get that ASAP.
Yes.
Because you missed out on some good jobs because of that.
Anyway.
What's your book?
Matt, Spoofs the 80s. Cliff already saw it. You're a little late. Turn that damn thing off. Anyway. And it's funny because the other project that I'm working on, Heir Apparent, actually goes back to the 80s and the 90s a bit. But I love this because one of the things it opens with is Mad's new phobias for the 80s. Yeah, I know, it's backwards. Sue me. Anyway. Some of these I love. One of which is Infernophobia, which is this puppy here. It is the fear of being hit from behind while driving a Ford Pinto. Or Tootsie phobia. Fear of not being able to buy anything that doesn't have a Peanuts or Sesame Street character on it. That was cute. Rootsophobia is a favorite. Fear of having to be out of the house on the concluding night of a 7-part TV movie. We, a few weeks ago, had a discussion of those old miniseries and stuff. And one of the things they did that I loved was they spoofed Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven with the Reagan. It's pure mad. It's crazy and it's stupid. They make great fun of Miami Vice, and interesting how the guys that they send to catch the criminals are basically just criminals themselves. Also, other much needed rules named for the irksome people who inspired them, such as the Reagan rule. High-level members of the U.S. government are prohibited from simply making up facts to support their positions. Does that sound anything like what's going on currently? Ooh, they could see the future.
What about the Simpsons?
But this was a fun book. Spuds MacKenzie's photo album. It was a hoot. They paint Spuds MacKenzie as basically, if anybody remembers the 80s, one of the things that, it was Miller? Yes.
No, Budweiser.
Was it Miller? Budweiser. Spuds MacKenzie was the spokesdog for Bud's Light. And every time you would see this dog, kind of
the original party animal.
Yes. He was kind of a pit bull, a bull terrier mix.
Something like that.
He always had a bunch of sexy women with him, and he was always in some bar. He never smoked. He never spoke, but, you could tell he was buzzing. And they did a whole thing on Spuds buzzing around the bar. But in this version, he isn't the life of the party that the commercials make him out to be. And a good one is Mad Guide to Devolution. So comedy group. The Great is the Marx Brothers, then the Three Stooges, then the Three Amigos. So it's like how it starts, and according to them, how it ends. I bought it. I loved it. It's mad. What can I say? I'm a mad idiot. Um, I got this one because the Spy versus Spy, which is what I was looking for, they pulled it. My jewel no longer has that Spy versus Spy. I finally got money for it, and then it just went away. And my heart is broken because I wanted this. I love me some Spy versus Spy. There's nothing more fun than two dudes dressed as primary colors killing the crap out of each other, and they keep coming back. What's better than that? You got a book, Cliff?
Yeah, Cliff, you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Hold on.
He got a book.
I do.
I gave him that
have
solo thingy.
The new
the new history of the DC universe
Ooh.
by Mark Wade. Which I did not realize was going to be a 4-book series until I got to the end of it and it said end book 1. Which shows how little I pay attention to things nowadays.
No, that's how they
But
get.
but yeah, it's Mark Wade doing his best Marv Wolfman impersonation. Because back at the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths, Marv Wolfman and George Perez did the history of the DC universe. Where they basically were like, okay, this is what really happened now that Crisis has ended and we got rid of a bunch of stuff. So this is Mark Wade doing his version of that for the post-Crisis, post-Infinite Crisis, post reboot universe. And it's not bad. I mean, it's Mark Wade. If you know anything about Mark Wade, you know he is a huge comic nerd and historian. So it's not like they just got somebody and said, "Here, Google all of this." Jerry Ordway helped with the art on it. I couldn't remember who the artist was, but and I haven't read the original one in a long time, but I'm pretty sure it was Harbinger telling the story of the new history of the DC universe. And this one by Mark Wade, Barry Allen is the new chronicler of the history of the universe. And it starts off at the beginning of time in the DC universe with the big spooky hand that we always see when someone goes back to the beginning of time, and it adds in all the stuff that wasn't there at the end of Crisis, like Scott Snyder's take on things, where we have Perpetua, who was the creator of the multiverse, and the Monitor, Anti-Monitor, and the Forger of Worlds are her sons. And he includes the Endless, Death, and all of his Dream and Death, and all of their siblings, and goes through the creation of the Guardians of the Universe, the New Genesis and Apocalypse being formed from the death of the old gods, the sinking of Atlantis, and on through, sticking in the new things like when it gets to the part about the wizard Shazam, it's not just him by himself on the Rock of Eternity. There's if you read any of the New 52, the group of sorcerers who were all hung out with him are in this one. Hawkman and Hawkgirl's origin going back further than Egypt is in here. Camelot. I like the fact that they stuck the Starman origin of the Shade in here during the 1800s.
Hmm.
And then on through it, it even has, and because I apologize, I've never read a Milestone comic in my life. I did not know that Icon landed on Earth in the 1800s, but
Yes.
I learned that from this. And of course, it has Max Mercury being a cowboy back in the Old West before he got shot through time. Um, the formation of the imprisonment of Dream in this before World War II. Doctor Occult, the founding of the JSA thanks to FDR, and just on through history, adding in the stuff that didn't happen in Crisis, like the Young All Stars who took the place of the All Star Squadron, um, and Jeff Johns' newest edition where everybody in the World War II era all had kid sidekicks, and now they're all back. The Haunted Tank, and he even added in, and I don't, in this, I think I read this somewhere, but I don't remember where. After the JSA left, due to the McCarthy hearings, a new Justice Alliance that Captain Comet started ran around for a little while, including everyone's favorite Golden Ape Gorilla. Um, and the very last entry in book one is the death of planet Krypton and the rocket leaving towards Earth, and that's all of book one. And then I've not read the new history of the DC Universe timeline that is in here also, mainly because from the looks of it, if you've ever read any Who's Who entry, it's all in here. There's a few new things that I need to go back and look at, but overall, if you know anything about the DC universe, you probably can skip the timeline. But I mean, if you like stuff like that where they're trying to make sense of all of what did and didn't happen in the universe, it's a really good book. I was really hoping it'd be a one shot. I don't want to buy three more, but I guess I will have to now. But
So
yeah,
and
all right. If you've read the original one, he followed it pretty much step by step in time periods they had in it. So yeah, if you've ever read anything Mark Waid did, you know what this is like. So
Yeah.
good time.
well, I have a couple of problems already with that book because they ever mention the quintessence?
Let me double check. No, I had a problem because they did not include the Phantom Stranger in here anywhere.
Phantom Stranger is another one, but again, if they didn't mention Phantom Stranger, most likely they didn't mention the quintessence, which is the culmination of a lot
Mhm.
of the celestial beings in the DC universe.
Right. No, but I think for the purposes of the new history, that's part of Shazam's Circle of Utility.
This
I
is
know it's not right.
above Shazam. This is above the Wizard.
Yeah, it was it's
If
one of it's
we
the
get into
Guardians.
we get into Spectre level at this
Yeah, it
point.
was the Guardians, Spectre, Phantom Stranger, the Wizard was part of it, and there's one more, and I can't think of who it was right now. But yeah, no, they didn't mention them in there. I don't know if that's gonna be in the next book
But
or
the
not.
Spectre is kind of like one of the people that's in the quintessence.
Mhm.
They
Now
if, they recently did a DC story before they went into this not New 52 before they went into this Dawn
Dark
of
Crisis.
DC. No, before they went into Dawn of DC,
Oh, okay.
they revisit the idea of the quintessence, and pretty much Darkseid pretty much defeated them
Yeah, I've got
at the
that
last
happened in
second.
a free comic book day book. I have it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But no, but they do talk about, which good for Mark Wade for remembering, but that Eclipso was the spirit, was God's wrath before the specter,
Mm-hmm.
because they have that in here in his fall. Um, Somewhere I can't find it now, of course.
The only person that we haven't met so far in the DC universe is the higher power's will.
Mm-hmm.
Eclipso was his wrath before he got ousted for Spectre. The
Right.
Phantom Stranger is technically supposed to be his mercy.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah,
I don't know what Deadman is supposed to be, but Deadman is almost like how Eclipso used to be.
Does he have a switch?
No.
Oh man.
now they have a. Let's see, he has it here. It's they have the dawn of the multiverse, the source wall, the
Yeah.
endless. Um,
That's
Lucifer
another
gets thrown.
artifact that they can't get rid of anytime soon is the source wall.
Yeah, the Lucifer getting thrown into hell, and then this Eclipse getting replaced by the Spectre,
Mm-hmm.
and then it goes into the stuff about the Guardians of the Universe.
So
Um,
nothing about Naboo, nothing about
well, no, they have. Let me see. Naboo is after in this history they have, like I said, they have all the stuff with the Owens and the controllers and the Zamorans.
mm-hmm.
Then they have the birth of New Genesis and Apocalypse. The birth of basically the birth of the Green, and Portland the Trees, Atlantis, Eclipso sinking, flooding the Earth, Anthro the Cave Boy and Vandal Savage, the Amazons arriving on Themyscira, Shazam, the Wizard, and Teth Adam, Nubia being born, and then they have Naboo on
That's
Earth.
the other thing that I don't like about that. They changed her origin.
Okay.
Yeah, and let's see,
Nubia
an
is
ancient
technically Diana's twin, but they've been changing her origin ever since they did like the young adults one, and then they try to change it again in this recent incarnation of Wonder Woman 2.
Yeah, well, according to Mark Wade, uh, all the stuff with Naboo happened in between Black Adam getting shipped off into space, the Scarab landing on Earth, and Nubia being born. So yeah, Naboo's stuck behind that. So
See, that's a major problem because if Naboo is behind that, that would make Diana older than Naboo.
mm,
Because Nubia and Diana was born at the same time. They were twins. So either he got some of his facts wrong or they have gone to the newer origin.
well, they don't call her Nubia on here yet. It says uh princess of an ancient kingdom on the African island of Madagascar died and would later be reincarnated as Nubia. So this is apparently when who she reincarnated from passed away. So she's not Nubia yet. She's going to be.
Oh, that's a
See
total
that
retcon.
I think that's incorrect. I think he's talking about a different character at that point.
Well, he smushed together a lot of stuff because he has Hippolyta is being part of the JSA.
She was.
Hippolyta? She
She was.
was?
She
Oh,
was.
okay.
Yeah.
They did write a story where secretly it's like Diana came over to the world of man, but Hippolyta was there before her. She was
Ah, okay.
secretly sneaking off, and she was a part of the JSA before Diana joined.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That
but
was actual Wonder Woman. That was actually in Wonder Woman in the burn era of Wonder Woman,
yeah,
where they said
Ah,
that she was part of JSA.
oh,
yeah. Well,
okay.
look, for the birth of the Amazons, it talks about I vaguely remember this about how all of the Amazons are um reincarnated souls of abused and murdered women.
No, that's the soul of wells. The well of souls do that.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
it's
home of the well of souls, and the well of souls would bring back and
yes,
reincarnate.
and he says right here, reincarnated from the well of souls, anew as they emerged from the well. These women called themselves the Amazons, and with Hippolyta as their queen, founded a society that eventually took root on the island of Themyscira.
So they didn't go
So
back to the actual history.
no,
Yeah, where
so all of
it was dealing with the Greek. It was a war with the Greek gods and everything, and
Yeah, because
they were
Hercules was sent to seduce her and get her thingy from her.
actually he Hercules was in league with Ares because Ares was at war with I forgot which god, and he was wrestling up all the women and everything, and they took him to this one island and they subjugated him there. And Hercules was like one of the ones that was was like the key figure that was like enemy number one, that was like second in command only to Ares. And
yeah,
that's where Hera kind of charged Hippolyta. It's like, hey, this is what's about to get ready to go down. Hercules about to try to get you pregnant. If he does get you pregnant, then everything was over. Everything's over. You can't do this. You have to raise up an army to actually fight them. And I would give you the wisdom to deal with Hercules and his band until Ares gets there. And when Ares gets there, I will be there to defend against them.
yeah, I
You
think
have to be mindful that like Ares and Hera, they're brother and sister. They're both gods of war.
yeah, I really think he was just trying to take all the different aspects of everything from all the different timelines and put them together because, and I'm assuming this is from something new because I didn't even know this existed. There was a Justice Society Dark.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like it was a Justice League Dark. There was a Justice Society
Yeah.
Dark that dealt with the occult.
Yeah, and it had the original Blue Beetle as a part of it. So this is just he is just sticking everything together however he can from the looks of it. Because
Now
it
did
even has
they state the original Blue Beetle's name? Because the original Blue Beetle was not Ted Kort. It was somebody
yeah,
else.
it's Dan Garrett. They say Dan Garrett.
Okay, yeah, that's the original Dan Garrett Blue Beetle.
Yeah, because I mean, here on the last page before Krypton blows up, they have Martian Manhunter getting pulled to Earth, and before that, and I'm pretty sure this came from that what was it called, Doomsday Clock that Jeff Johns wrote, where the U.S. government had all the super scientists, Niles Calder, Will Magnus, Martin Stein, and Simon Stagg start the Superman project.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
That's part of it. That's part of that. That seems like it could have been part of that here. I barely remember the Superman project. Yeah.
It really looked like he just sucked everything all up into one history. And of course, I mean, all it's really for is just to hype up whatever the big DC All In event's going to be, because the last page is, you know, all it is the absolute universe and the regular DC universe fighting Darkseid. So,
well, that's going to lead. Hopefully, this version is going to lead up to what actually happened in Absolute Power and the reason why there's a absolute why there are absolute titles now. Because Absolute Power kind of made it into like a kind of like how Marvel had their Ultimate Universe.
Right. So yeah, it was good. I mean, I'm surprised some of the stuff you put in there. Like, I wasn't expecting he'd have the origin of the Shade in there, but yay for him. So
The Shade is a lot more powerful than what people think. That's what it
yeah.
boils back down to. Because, like I said, it's like he missed the quintessence because the quintessence was a council, all of them up under the Spectre. And what they do is they decide the fate of multiple of the multiverse. To be quite honest here.
Now he may stick them in the the next book somewhere because, like I said, the Phantom Stranger is nowhere in here, and that was like one of Mark Waid's favorite characters. So
Mhm.
hopefully some more of it will show up. But I was hoping it'd just be one book. I don't want to buy a bunch of them,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's a
especially
lot
because it
of
was
stuff.
like
It
$9.
seems like it's missed a lot of stuff here because we haven't got to like the super science era where you have Ivo with Amazo and what's his name who created the Metal Men and a
Oh
couple
no,
others.
Will Magnus is part of the Superman project
Mhm.
because in here he doesn't. Let's see. Where's
We
it?
haven't got well. The Superman project led up to a lot of things like Metamorpho, the
Mm-hmm.
Metal Men, and a
Yeah,
couple others.
yeah, because he specifically mentions Niles Calder, Will Magnus, Martin Stein, and Simon Stagg. He doesn't mention Ivo or Tio Maro yet.
Mhm.
So I'm guessing it might be in the next book, but I don't know. 'Cause
So I guess the
I
next one
didn't.
is going to cover things like Doom Patrol, Metamorpho, the the Metal Men, Amazo, characters like the Thunderbolt,
mm, I
stuff to that
think
matter.
I think it'll probably be like that in between time where there was, like the Metalmen and all that before the Justice League, and then at the end of that book will be Justice League, and then the third book will be everything else.
Because
If I had to take a guess.
again, it's like they haven't talked about Sergeant Rock.
Oh no, so I just skipped that. He's in there.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm about to say, where's Sergeant Rock? Where's the Black Hawk Squadron? Where's
Yeah,
all
he
these World War II super scientists, soldiers that had to
Yeah, I was
deal with a
about to
lot of
say
stuff?
they were
Where was
kind
it?
of.
Where was the Challengers of the Unknown? Well,
Challengers are
Challengers
not in
become
here.
later. Challengers technically came later. I know that.
All right, so I'm not gonna go through each one, but I'm gonna hit all the high points we don't hear. The birth of the multiverse, the
Mhm,
endless, the formation of hell, the Spectre and Eclipso,
mhm.
the Owens, the controllers, the Zamorians, New Genesis and Apocalypse, the Parliament of the Trees, Arion from Atlantis, Eclipso sinking, Eclipso being the reason there was the Great Flood, all three of the different cities of Atlantis, Anther of the Cave Boy, Vandal Savage, the formation of the Amazons, the Rock of Eternity, Black Adam, the Blue Beetle Scarab, Naboo, Ramakrishna founding Nanda Parbat, the Hawks.
Really?
Yeah,
So the Thanagarians felt wow. I would have never got. I would have never thought that they went that far back in Egyptian history, or that type of culture in that region.
yeah. The Thanagar, the Hawks, uh, Alan Scott's Green Lantern lamp when it became the Star Heart, uh, Camelot,
Wait,
the
why
seven.
why they separated Alan Scott? Alan Scott technically would have been up under the Guardians, technically.
Well, no, they under the Guardians. Like I said, I'm just hitting the high points, but under the
Mhm,
Guardians, they talk about how the Guardians captured all the wild magic of the universe and put it inside the Star Heart
mhm.
and sent it off into space. And then when you get to here, if the Star Heart fell in ancient China where it was carved into a magic lamp, and then it goes from there into Camelot, and then
Oh,
we
so
have
that's how we got Camelot 2000 or whatever that series was.
they have the Shining Knight,
Hmm.
um, the birth of Madame Xanadu, the bonding of Etrigan to Jason Blood,
Hmm.
the Viking Prince and Eric, Son of Thunder, the Demon Knights, which is the new 52 title, Metron building his Mobius chair and boom tube.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ra's
wow.
al Ghul and the Lazarus Pits,
Hmm.
the formation of Gorilla City. We have here the Black Pirate, Captain Fear, Andrew Bennett becoming a vampire, the birth of the Shade, Frankenstein's monster, And then you get into the Revolutionary War era, and you have Tomahawk and Dan Hunter and Miss Liberty, Icon crashing on Earth, Max Mercury getting his powers, and then this whole page is all the Western characters: Johnny Thunder, Batlash, El Diablo,
When
so
did we
on
get
and so on.
Jonah Hex? When did
I
Jonah
was
Hex
about to
come
say,
into
what about
play?
Jonah
Yeah,
Hex?
Jonah's at the top.
Okay, I'm about to say Jonah was the time traveler out of all of them,
Yeah.
so he would have been able to go backwards and forward. So I'm trying to think. It's like it's like you got
Mm.
all the
And they
Western.
have
Go ahead.
he's got Scalp Hunter,
Mhm.
and Nighthawk and Cinnamon, and then Enemy Ace,
Mhm.
Con-Gorilla, um, Dream of the Endless getting captured, uh, Kent Nelson's dad discovering Naboo's tomb and dying, Doctor Occult, uh, Wesley Dodds becoming the Sandman. And I didn't know this, but apparently Wesley Dodds bankrolled the Blackhawks,
Yep.
because here's the Blackhawks, and then they have Starman and Bullet Man, Myth America, Spy Smasher, the Dan Garrett Blue Beetle, the JSA, Johnny Thunder and his Thunderbolts, the All Star Squadron, uh, the Injustice Society, and Seven Soldiers of Victory, the
The
original
original
Creature
the
Command.
original Seven Soldiers, right? We talked
Yeah,
about the original. Okay.
yeah. The original Creature Commandos,
Okay.
all of the kid sidekicks that Jeff Johns created getting lost in time. Uh, Sargon the Sorcerer and the Guardian, both teams of freedom fighters.
Okay.
The original team, and then the team with Dollman and Phantom Lady.
Okay. So
The
we got
All Star Squad.
the original Uncle Sam team, and then the Doll
Yeah,
Man one. Okay.
yeah. Um, the All Star Squadron, the Young All Stars, and the Death of TNT.
So
And
the
then we
Young
get
All Stars
into
was the Liberty Bell one, right? That's the Liberty Bell team.
All Star Squadron was Liberty Bell and all of them. The Young All Stars was when they got rid of the Earth 2 Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and they
Okay.
replaced them with the Fury, Flying Fox, Iron Monroe, and all of them.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they get into the Unknown Soldier, Sergeant Rock, um, the Boy Commandos, the Haunted Tank, and the
Mhm.
Losers. They're all in here in this one. Justice Society Dark, Dinosaur Island, and the original Suicide Squad,
Mhm.
the McCarthy trials where we lost the JSA, um, and them going off to fight in another dimension. Mark Waid's version of the 1950s Avengers, Prince
Oh, that's
Raman.
right. That's right. Because
Yeah.
he did try to bring the Avengers over there to have the equivalent of the
Mm-hmm.
Avengers in DC. Just like how Marvel had the equivalent of Justice League with
Right.
Squadron Supreme in
Right. And
Marvel.
then you have uh, all the super scientists, Martian Manhunter, and then the final thing is Krypton blowing up. So that's all of book one.
Okay, so there's more stuff to come. There's definitely more
Yeah.
stuff to come here.
Yeah. I just find it funny that Batman, the Golden Age Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman are on the cover, and aside from Krypton blowing up, they don't mention any of us. So
Well, you have to be mindful that Golden Age Batman would not have existed at that time. Golden Age Wonder Woman would have came in around Justice Society late in there, and then you have to
mhm,
question: is that really Hippolyta or is that Diana?
yeah, and they even put in that the original Black Canary was Dinah's mother.
Yes, that is
So
true.
they skipped that whole Earth 2 thing about where she came from Earth 1 and Earth 2 to Earth 1 and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that there's a lot he didn't have in there that I'm hoping will show up in the next books, but I don't think I could have gotten that much in one book. So my hat's off to him. So
I mean, he stayed kind of I felt like he still kind of like in chronological order, but he just didn't explain everything that truly happened.
Right.
Which is a good
Yeah,
thing because he made people go back and go back to get those key issues and the back issues and everything, because there's certain things that, like I said, I disagree with, because it's like the birth of Nubia would have been the same time that birth of Diana. If you have Diana's birth on that timeline, that would have been the same thing, because the way that they rewrote the origin is that they're twins. They never stated that they weren't twins. Now, in some origins, they said that Nubia was up under some other type of spell that kept her younger than Diana. She grew up a lot slower than Diana.
Right.
And then there's other ones that they grew up at the same time frame, but they never met. They never met into the one contest. And it's just weird how they got all this stuff
Well, now
done.
there's a lot of Wonder Woman history I don't remember. Like, I vaguely remember the Lost Tribe of Amazons is where Artemis came from. The new Wonder Girl, Yara Flora or whatever, it was supposed to be.
That came from the first Amazon's attack, dealing with the tribe that's in South America.
They're from back in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I couldn't remember where that tribe in Brazil came from. So I was
that came from Amazon's attack, the first 6-issue mini series.
Okay.
It's interesting because the second iteration of the New Mutants featured a girl who, it turns out, was an Amazon from Brazil.
Magma, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I always thought it was interesting because it never ceases to amaze me how they both kind of bump each other for heroes and whatnot, and it's like and how they both tend to find some of the same stories.
And to think that Magma predates all of this, technically.
Yeah, because they're like ancient Romans or something too, right?
Yeah, they were in the Amazon, but they were ancient Romans, and I forget who has a statue. And she shows it to her, and she's like, "Well, that's my ancestor." It's like it's supposed to be her grandmother or something. And I forget. It's not. Something in my brain keeps wanting to say it's what's her name, Emma Frost, but I know it wasn't Emma Frost. I think it was whoever they were trying to make the bad guy for that particular story, because they were trying to.
Emma found Magma because she was a Hellion before she was a New Mutant, right?
She was a Hellion before she was New Mutant.
So
the statue is also supposed to be of the goddess Circe. The statue
was Thunderbird's brother was a Hellion too.
Yeah, Thunderbird, his brother, and in fact, that's where the second iteration of New Mutants came from. Was they after things at the Hellfire Club went kind of bellyish, they kind of inherited that the group of Hellions who, I guess we're looking at I didn't get all those issues, but it was like kind of like, you mean we've been on the wrong side of this discussion?
No, it wasn't really that. It was very messed up of how they handle it. Because if you remember, the Hellions actually fought the New Mutants.
Yeah.
And the New Mutants barely beat them.
Yeah.
They barely walked away from that. And then they went back to the Hellfire Club, and something attacked the Hellfire Club, because again, the Hellions thought that it was the Xavier and his New Mutants that was doing whatever it was.
And it
when they went back, it was somebody else, and a great number of them ended up dying.
And that's right. And Frost sent the rest of them to Xavier because once because she had kind of made them her own little family. And then when she kind of felt like she had brought about those deaths. I think it was the first time she'd ever kind of had a sense of, had I not brought them on this path?
not
they may
not
have
as
been dead
brought
or
them on the
something.
past. It's like if I didn't get these clues, if I didn't get these clues wrong, she blamed herself
Yeah, that's what I'm
for
saying. That
misreading everything that had happened,
but because in the end it resulted in these young people dying.
dying. Some
And
died horribly.
and
Some died
Yeah.
horribly in that, and
but
she could not, you know,
Mm.
could
it
not let
was
that
one of
go.
those things where it was, I think it was the first time you see her kind of break, where
Because
her
again,
heart
she kept.
is shattered, and you get that she loved these kids. These kids actually meant something to her other than, yeah, I'm going to teach them to be evil. This was sort of that family for her. It wasn't just giving the kids a family, but also getting a family for herself, because the Hellfire Club she was the White Queen of the Hellfire Club, but it wasn't the family.
It wasn't the family that Sebastian made it to be.
Mm.
Yeah, Sebastian.
Again, Sebastian was trying to replace her with Jean.
Yeah.
So she
And then,
got
of course, it was
ostracized.
Sebastian that then switched her, and it was Sebastian that switched her with Storm. I think it was through Sebastian that there was a
He was
point
trying to switch. Yeah, he was trying to switch her with Storm.
he had switched Emma their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So Storm was in Emma and Emma was in Storm, and he banged Emma while she was in Storm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which made it was like, okay, I will hate you forever, Sebastian Shaw. I don't care.
And then
You can be eaten alive by little bitty, piss ants. I do not care. I will forever hate you.
You should be cheering how Shinobi beat the crap out of him and killed him then.
And it was also Shinobi. I kind of like Shinobi because when Betsy went to the Siege Perilous, and then she got the new body. The new body was Shinobi's old fiance. And there was a point where she was kind of losing it because some aspect of the old fiance's spirit was still in that body.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Shinobi that helped her release it so she could get a little, because he was like, so long as you have that spirit in you, you're going to be fractured. You are going to be fractured. You will never be whole. If you want to heal, I'm going to, you need me to help you. And he helps her release that spirit, and then she can go start
Well,
getting.
the spirit.
And then there can't turn into two of them.
Yeah, that the spirit actually found another host, and it became I forgot the name, Revenge or something to that magnitude.
Mm-hmm.
And it was two of them running around that was exactly the same. But the writers still were learning from the lessons that they didn't learn about Rogue and how to deal with Rogue and Carol Danvers.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing happened with Rogue and Carol Danvers, and the same thing that happened with Betsy Braddock.
Yeah, because that was why Rogue ended up having to go to Xavier anyway, because she was losing her mind.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She was not supposed to have because at first it was just, oh, I've got all the superpowers, of Ms. Marvel, but it was like, yeah, you also have part of Ms. Marvel. You don't just have
You have her psyche. You have her
Yeah.
psyche rolling around in your brain. That's when she started to understand the nature of her power. It wasn't just the simple fact that, oh, I get your power. No, you're draining their life force. You're draining them. You're actually going to drain them and become them.
And unfortunately, she already had so many thems inside her by that point.
Mm-hmm.
She was beginning to lose sight of who she was. And that's why she goes to Xavier, because no one in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants could help her. No one had that ability. Not even Mystique.
No one understood that ability.
Yeah, Mystique couldn't even help her with that. And so she went to Xavier as a last resort, because she realized she was losing her sanity.
After the guilt. It was guilt that she went to Xavier, because again, it was Mystique that said, no, hold on to Danvers. don't let her go.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it was
We need to be able to do X, Y, Z. You can't let go. And she and Rogue literally did not let go. But in doing so, that's when the
it
thief
was driving her
understood her
insane.
power. Yeah.
It was driving her insane. Um,
And
but
then
it,
later on, during the Jim Lee era of X-Men, Rogue and that aspect of Carol got separated into Savage Land, and Magneto had to put them back together to save Rogue's life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The abilities, because again, you can't separate the two. That was the major thing about Rogue and her powers. The longer she holds on to any individual, the longer she has control over whatever she
their
brings into her
abilities.
psyche.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
doesn't let go of it. And if you try to remove it, you're literally removing her lifespan in some degree.
Yeah.
right.
And
And
that's
that when she went through the siege and ended up in the Savage Land, it split her and Carol. Well, the aspect of Carol. And Magneto had to merge them back together.
mm-hmm.
And then it went to that weird thing with Polaris and oh Lord, the chick that always fought Kazar in the Savage Land. I can't remember her name right now.
Shayna. Not
No,
Shayna.
not his wife.
No, no, no. Shayna
The bad guy who
was
led the evil cavemen.
I can't think of the name here.
I can't either, but she ended up somehow getting Polaris's powers
Mm-hmm.
and fought Magneto, and Magneto killed her.
ooh,
I can't think what her name was. And that's when I discovered the first time I realized that Magneto was supposed to be part of the Hellfire Club. Uh,
There was a lot of characters that were a part of the Hellfire Club that were card carrying members of the Hellfire Club, but they were never really made a major big
yeah. They
stink
weren't
about it.
active roster.
yeah,
And that
Like,
was
apparently he was going to be the
Tony Stark was a member of the Hellfire Club.
yeah, but it was something like Magneto was going to be the White King for a little while, and something happened.
He was being
Uh,
recruited. He was being
yeah, it
recruited,
got brought up in that book,
but
in that
Sebastian never
same book.
completed it.
But
Yeah, I don't think he was ever officially made the White
mm-mm.
King.
No,
I
he
didn't
was
know he was
being
supposed
recruited,
to.
but
He was
never completed it.
yeah, I didn't realize he got recruited, but I like what Elaine was
Just
talking
like
about how
Tony was a card carrying
mm,
member of the Hellfire Club, but he never sat on the board. He was just a benefactor.
Yeah.
and then if you read Excalibur, there was a British Hellfire Club, and they
Mm-hmm.
had red and black kings and queens.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when Warren Ellis was writing Excalibur for a little while, and it got weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But like Elaine was talking about how it's the creators end up creating the same things sometimes without knowing it. It made me think about Man Thing and Swamp Thing. Lynn Wein and Bernie Wrightson were roommates and created both characters at the same time and didn't know it.
Oh wow.
And when Marv Wolfman was writing New Teen Titans, and he bumped into Mike Barr in the DC offices and was like, "Hey, we're creating this new character. Her name's Kara, and her costume looks like this, and she's got these Earth powers and all this." And Mike W. Barr goes, "Oh, I just created this character called Geoforce for Batman and the Outsiders, and his costume looks like this." And he can, and so that's how Geoforce and Terra became half brother and sister
Oh,
because
that's right. Yeah. Because
they
yeah,
created the characters and didn't know it. I always thought that was kind of neat.
yeah. Hopefully next week, because I am pushing this finding art supplies that don't suck and
Mm.
also don't cost an arm and a leg. And I have been running my searches on YouTube because I follow a lot of people. If you ever go to my YouTube channel and just see how many people I'm subscribed to, I'm subscribed like to the equivalent of a small town, out in rural Indiana or something like, a fat 500,000 people or so. But I follow several of the shopping ladies and
Mm.
some Crayola makes some really great products. And they have some stuff that's coming out. I'm hoping to grab a few things, as well as Dollar Tree also has their Jot line. And I want to see if I can grab, because I just found out that they, through their Jot line, if anybody's interested in journaling or calligraphy, Dollar Tree's Jot line has 3 different calligraphy pens. And they're the fountain pens with the ink, and they're good quality. I just saw a woman do one of the pens, and she's one of those pen women. She's got, she was, because she expected it to be crap, because she's like, yeah, it's like $1.25. It's not going to be all that special, it's like $1.25. What you're going to get for $1.25? Look, the ink barrel is smaller. It's a smaller pen. And then she tried it, and she was like, oh my goodness, this is actually good. And it didn't bleed.
It's tight in there.
Hi.
Hey, Elaine, I'm sorry.
That's
My
okay.
youngest
Hi,
is talking to me.
Precious.
Say hi.
Hi there. How you doing?
Good.
Good. You can go play on the TV if you want.
This is my bird. I wasn't showing my bird.
She's obsessed with playing on the PlayStation and wanted to see if she could. So that's all that matters right now.
Show her my bird.
Penelope, come here real quick, baby.
And my bird.
Your bird's not as cool as the PlayStation. Don't you know
Well,
that, Miss Elaine?
I can't.
Here, she wants to show
Look
you
at
her
a
bird.
bird. Eat my bird. Eat my
I have
bird.
those.
Yeah,
Oh, cute.
yeah.
Hey, tell your daddy that they have a Wednesday doll. They have a really soft Wednesday doll out.
Ooh.
Okay.
And
Daddy,
I heard her. I was right here. Say bye.
I'm your evil Auntie Moo.
Yes. I had to track down a Monster High doll series made a Wednesday in Morticia. I had to track down for my oldest. So
Walmart has the Polly Pocket Adams Family and Wednesday, but you can't get them at the store. You have to order them online.
of course.
Sorry.
It's okay. Did we run Joe off?
Huh?
We ran Joe off again.
Yes, we did. And it's funny because we've got 8 minutes and Joe has disappeared. I'm not sure where he is, but I'm going to split the screen so it's just the 2 of us.
Yay.
Hold on. Oh, no, that was wrong. Hold on. Give me a second. Ooh, is this it? No! Let's go back to where we were. I did it wrong. Joe's.
You did what wrong?
Stuff.
What
You get
did
an A
you
for
do
effort.
wrong?
I didn't blow anything up.
No,
We
you
are
didn't
not-
blow
we
anything
have
up.
not
I saw that you
gone out
didn't blow
of this.
anything up. I had to deal with a person who showed up late
Aww.
coming by. I was like, okay. It's like, I'm still live streaming, right? It's like, yeah, okay.
This is why I shut off my phone. Yeah, but that was okay because he brought his youngest came out.
Yay.
We were talking Wednesday toys that are very expensive, and he will now beat the crap out of me.
The next season is coming soon. I can't remember what day it starts.
I don't think it starts till. I think not until August or September or something like that. Maybe
something
October.
like that. Yeah, we're waiting for it around here.
As am I. I actually enjoyed it. I even enjoyed Fred Armistead. I was surprised I did, but I enjoyed Fred Armistead as Uncle Fester. I didn't hate him, so that would,
It was pleasantly surprising. I wasn't expecting to like it, but it was good, and it made me it almost made me a Jenna Ortega fan. But
hey, every
I'm not
once in a
gonna go.
while, I put on some music and
I'm not going to go hunt down every show or movie she's in just to watch her because she wasn't that great.
no, but she didn't totally suck either.
Mm-mm.
So and they did have Wednesday from the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, which
they brought her in, which I liked
Well,
because
they can't do Wednesday from the movies because again,
she's too
Christine.
old for the character. We get that,
Thank you, Christina
hey,
Ricci.
look,
And
but the
besides,
fact that
she will forever be Trixie from now on for me.
no,
okay,
look, Christina Ricci can dress up as whatever she wants to, whenever she wants to, and I will say, okay, ma'am.
But she was a very good Trixie for Speed Racer. Don't get me. Don't you cannot
I
tell me
didn't.
with a straight face there, Cliff, that she did not play a good Trixie.
I
She can play a
enjoy
good
her. I
anything.
enjoy her in the werewolf movie.
That werewolf movie was so funny.
I enjoy her in the werewolf movie. I don't think I've
I,
ever seen a werewolf flip people off before, and I thought it was really adorable.
it had the werewolf flipping people off. It had Lex Luthor with a bad wig on. That was a good movie. That was a good movie.
It was fun. It was
Yeah.
I like that, and it was a fun movie, and the kill at the beginning, just that was a good kill because it 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 wasn't the 5 second thing. And
Mhm.
it was like, there was that point where you're thinking, yeah, okay, I'm spoiling it. Okay, you got a problem with that? Come up my house at a full moon. I will eat you.
Elaine,
No, nobody risks the stabby. So you keep on selling those tickets here. Nobody's not going to come in there and get no stabby. It's like
Anyway,
what
I
it's like
thought
what
I
everybody,
thought
everybody's gonna be
Chicky
like,
was
what
gonna make
happened?
it. There is a
mm,
moment in that first kill. I thought Chicky in the parking lot was gonna make it because she was smarter. She was smarter than your usual first kill,
mhm,
and I thought, okay, because she knew how to when it was looking for her, she knew how to pull her feet up. She was smart
mhm,
enough to go, okay, let me put my feet up so I can't see my feet. So she was. It showed that she was thinking.
mhm,
She was trying to think her way out of this, which I liked. And I
mhm,
kept thinking, ooh, if she only had a weapon, she might have, she may not have survived it, but she'd have got as good as she got.
mhm.
So I kind of like that. I
Right.
actually sort of like that.
Now, before we run out of time, I always forget to ask you about this until after the show. What is your opinion of the Ginger Snaps movies?
you know, I love the first one. I
Mhm,
love the two girls who play the sisters. I love their dynamic.
mhm,
Um, the one where I think it's Ginger Snaps Back is the one where she's in the
mhm,
institution, and I was not expecting the way that was going to end, and it was
mhm.
like, damn, okay,
Yep.
right, okay. There's crazy, and then there is next level. I'm gonna turn this into, my own little living comic book.
Mhm.
Crazy. That was
I
like
was I was not ready for that. That caught me off guard.
and I actually did like the third too. The
Mhm,
one where it shows that they were trying to say that these girls were fated, that
mhm.
this was within their bloodline that this happened.
Right.
They're trying, so showing, it's the 1700s and the fort and whatnot. I thought was really interesting, and I did get a little feeling about the end. I
Mhm.
liked the end because in the first one, she has to kill her sister,
Yep.
and that breaks my heart. And I
Mhm,
get it. She's got to put down the one person she loves, but it breaks her too, which is why she
mhm,
ends up in the asylum. Um, but the end where you know all the other kids are gone. I'll just put it that way, and
mhm,
they're just there together.
mhm,
And she's got her head in her sister's lap, and she's like, "I'm cold," and she's like, "I'm not." And
mhm,
I think she knows she's dying. She's not going to survive the night, but she just asks if she'll stay with her. And
mhm.
her sister says, "Yeah, I will." She knows she's not going to make it. she kind of has that feeling she's not going to see
Mhm.
the sunrise. And the fact that her sister sits there and her sister is like halfway gone, and yet she sits there and she holds her hand.
Yeah.
That I love. It's a bond. It takes us beyond
Mhm.
your usual horror film.
Right. I always thought all three of them were really underrated werewolf movies.
I did too, and like I said,
Mhm.
it's one of the ones where if I can, I'm actually trying to get them on my Fandango list, so that whenever I get like a nice chunk of change, it's it's on those list of movies. Whenever they pop up on Amazon or something, I'll put them in my list, so I always have access. But I would like to own them
Right now, I
as much
think
as I can.
the second and third one, and maybe the first one, are available on Tubi to watch.
Okay, is Tubi the one where you have to deal with the commercials?
Hmm.
Yeah. See, I don't want to have to deal. That's why I want to buy them,
Hmm.
because that way I've got them and I can watch them. There are certain movies I don't want to. Oh, we got a break for a commercial. It's like, you know
Mhm.
what? This is the time. I wish if I can. So there are some movies I just want to sit and watch. I don't want to hear commercial breaks. I just want to sit and enjoy it. And that series, I liked it because it's like a company of wolves.
Mhm.
It's a feminist manifesto of the werewolf
Mhm.
genre. And I love that. It is um it is especially because you're thinking in both of them, it's these young girls, and the whole point about the werewolf, it's that shadow side story, that part of you that you have to hide
Mhm.
because this as I'm working on in the coming of nighttime, it's that shadow side, the side that you don't want to show to other people because it's violent, it can be deadly, you
Mhm.
know especially depending on how you come across it and how you know if my what I'm going for is that view of usually the werewolf is that shadow that is not easily contained,
Mhm.
and it's the person, and as much as I love those old Lon Chaney werewolf movies, because that's what got me on that thinking, there is there there is such a melodramatic. It's so sad. He can't die, and he can't be cured. And whenever you see him popping up in another Universal film, it's all, like the House of Dracula or whatever. It's like, he's suffering, he's sad.
Mhm.
It's like, dude, take a damn Xanax and get you a bucket of Kentucky Fried. Just, chill. It's a tragic thing.
I think you just predicted my Friday night.
Oh, okay. Just, I hope that was in a good way and I didn't just ruin your evening for you.
Oh no, bucket of
But,
KFC and some Xanax sounds awesome.
sorry. but I think about that Lon Chaney werewolf. I
Mm.
think about the fact that he is such a tragic. He is a broken, tragic individual.
Right.
And what I liked about the later films, I like about the Ginger Snaps, the werewolf, the girls are broken, but the werewolf gives them a bit of healing.
Hmm.
That being able to deal with that shadow, face it.
Hmm.
Even if you have to conquer, as in the first movie, she has to kill her sister, but she faces it. She heals herself. And it's like, okay, if I can't give you this healing, I can at least give you peace.
Right.
But the sister isn't, you know, it's more of, it's not so much that the sister is suffering, more of I have to think about what more than just us,
Mm-hmm.
because I can't contain you.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't contain you, people are going to die, you know.
I haven't read it in a while. I have to go back and look, but the Ginger Snaps movie reminded me that in Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, Alan Moore tied werewolfism and the phases of the moon in with feminine energy and uh the tide and everything with a woman's menstrual cycle. It clicked for me when I watched Ginger Snaps. I was like, huh, werewolf. It made werewolfism more of a feminine thing in my mind after reading that and seeing those movies.
One of the things I'm working on with the younger character as she grows up in the Coming in Nighttime stories is she's a human werewolf hybrid,
Mm.
and they're on the run. Every time she tries to connect with werewolves, they have to leave. Something goes wrong and they have to leave because they can't be exposed, and they're trying not to expose the werewolves.
Right.
But she finally finds someone who is a master of the change. His thing with his is he teaches not only his own pack, but other packs send him. They're on this planet. They send their kids to him, and the werewolves call it Fathanampa. And it's so instead of it being, because usually in a werewolf movie the moon comes up, you know, I wanted to do it in the way the first Howling was trying
Mm.
to approach it. This is now an aspect of who you are. And if you can deal with this aspect of yourself, you can, because the whole point of Doc was that he was trying to get the people at this colony into a state where they could get back into society. The colony wasn't meant to be a permanent werewolf residence. His intention through therapy was to get them functioning in a way, especially with the sister and the two brothers, to get them functioning so that they could live in society. And I always that was one I loved that movie because it was like, okay, was Doc always a werewolf who then had to go to school? Because the psychiatrist doesn't just have a psychiatry degree, he has a medical degree. You get your medical degree, then you branch out into psychiatry.
Mm.
And the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychoanalyst or other therapist is because they have a medical degree, they can prescribe medication.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the difference between psychiatrists and all the others, is they can actually subscribe medication because they have not just a psychology degree, but they also have a medical degree.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not something you can do in 4 years.
No.
And so it's like, okay, was he a werewolf when he was in school? Which meant he had to learn how to harness this ability so he could go to school and not end up eating half the student body. You know, or was he a psychiatrist and then and something happened, he ended up becoming a werewolf. And for him, it was like, oh, this is just the shadow side of me. This is another part of my nature. And so what I'm trying to do is explore it as the werewolves don't look at themselves as tragic. This is just this thing that's ruining our lives. It's a part of who, and is a part of who they are. Just like, you know, your gender, my skin color. These are just aspects of yourself. You go through a phase where you start, you know, regular humans, we hit our preteen years, we start going through puberty and whatnot, we start changing and stuff. And so knowing what I know about biology for werewolves, that's when they hit what they call for venom paw, and they go through the change. And part of this guy's thing is he shepherds these kids through it, so that when they come out the other side, they're fully integrated and they have total control.
Mm.
So they don't, the full moon is not going to go, they can anytime they want, they got that control. So because sometimes we do the werewolves and we make them victims.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to work in a story where my werewolves weren't victims. And that was something I liked about the Ginger Snaps. It was an interesting point of young girls in that age where they're beginning to change, they're going through the change. When this change happens,
Right.
it becomes that sort of, it becomes another step of puberty for them. And I thought that was really cool. So I will always love those movies,
Okay.
Joe, you got a werewolf film you like?
No, I'm just here trying to figure stuff out. Y'all, I'm just listening for my name.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Joe.
So
But it's 10 after 9.
Yeah, we're
I
2
hate-
hours in, so y'all is enjoying the conversation. I'm not going to interrupt here. I would just being me, working with numbers and working with writing.
Okay.
Well, I hate to leave good company, but I'm out of go juice, so I'm
running
calling
out
it.
of go juice. I need something cold to drink, and I need to put something in my belly before I go kill ants in my kitchen.
Oh no, not ants in the
Right.
kitchen.
Not just ants, but black ants about that big.
Oh, you talking about the big old ones that been.
They play dead. They play dead.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were dead, and then I shifted something, and they all sprung to life like, ha!
Well, if you run into Scott Lang in the process of doing that, stomp on his ass for those last 2 movies.
Okay, I poor Paul Rudd. Poor Paul.
The last movie wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but then again, I like what they did in Loki better.
Mm-hmm.
And
that Crane, I like that Crane better than what we got in the movie, in the actual movie.
I also, Tom Hiddleston's got the better butt. I'm just saying, he's got the better butt. So yeah, I will go with you there. I was like a man with boobies.
I'm not gonna hate it.
Anyway.
No, I for some reason I kind of gotten used to it because I have hung around her in conventions. And there's certain times where just up here it's like, yeah, I can't just, have her tied to a chair because she would figure out a way to take the chair with her to go fondle her some people. She'd be like, "Don't buy the chair," and it's like it was just kind of a deterrent because I know now I was going to lose it anyway. I'm going to lose the chair anyway.
It's my new outfit. What do you think?
It's my cosplay. I cosplaying a victim right about now, and my victim stance is that I want to get a hug from me. I just lost my free hug sign. I just don't know where it's at.
No, just pose for picture. Pose for candy. Just pose for candy.
It was good seeing you folks again.
Oh, you want to start to close out?
No, I'm fixing to go to bed.
So you're just gonna. Oh, okay.
Wait, you just gonna say okay? You just say good night. You say good night.
Good night. I'm still in the Olive Branch.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Come again.
All right. So now it's your turn.
Thank you guys for being here with us. Nobody was in the chat. I feel as if
But there was people watching all the way through. So I've been watching the mystical number by that eyeball go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. People are watching. It's just that
they don't talk to me. They don't talk to me.
No, they just don't realize it's truly an interactive show. We actually do talk to people in the comments here.
It's so sad. It's so sad. Please come talk to me. I need the interaction. Anyway, you had a good show, whether you watch us live or watch us later. Sorry, that was me. Facebook farted on my computer.
Yep.
Sorry. No. Anyway, thank you for coming. You can find me at my website, LensCap Online. You can find me here on YouTube at Elaine Haygood. You can find me on Facebook, Elaine Haygood. I'm around. Come find me. Say hello. Come tell me how wonderful, amazing, and unique I am. Okay? And we will see you next week. Be safe. Joe,
Yes,
I'm
I
leaving
got
in
it.
your hands.
I got it because, again, we have to tell people that Comic Book Spectrum was brought to you by Plasma Fire Graphics. If you need a good cover for your graphic novel or your regular art, I'm saying artwork, I should say your literary work, Jeffrey Hayes is the perfect person to contact to get stellar artwork and covers that will bring people to your table, and they're going to be like, hey, what's this book about? If you don't believe me, take a look at this.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You've seen what is there and is available for him, Jeffrey Hayes, to do for you. So if you like what you saw, give him a quick little message on plasmafiregraphics.com or the Facebook group for Plasma Fire Graphics. As far as myself, I will be back Saturday for an episode from the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. And yes, the fate of the topic is still in your hands for right now. As we speak, the topic that's being voted on by you, the viewers, the people who actually watch from the Desk of a Small Press Publisher, both on that have been commenting on Facebook and on Instagram. It looks like we're going to be talking about TNA books and why it seems that people are being lazy when it comes to creativity and the sexiness behind them. That's winning so far. But the other topic is the money trap. The money trap in collecting can still win out. I will probably announce the winner on tomorrow, so stay attuned to Facebook and Instagram, and we will know. I'll probably be about this time tomorrow what topic wins out. And I have already gotten ready for the one that's leading as of right now. The other one is easy. This the one that's winning. We're going to have examples. We're going to really get into it. But nevertheless, we got to wait until Saturday. So that's the teaser. So until then, let life grow and be well. And unlike the founder of Comic Book Spectrum, Brian K. Morris, I don't care if you wash your hands, but never, and I do mean never, apologize for being awesome. We'll catch you right back here next Thursday for another live episode of From the Desk of Comic Book Spectrum. Hope to see you there, and we'll talk to you then. Bye.